Hi, Eric Wilson here, 30-year independent licensed mechanic. In the next short while, I'm going to show you the inside story on this 2016 Range Rover Evoque so you can make yourself an informed decision. Okay, coming in on the front left tire, you got about 70% tread on all-season radio, so down a bit, but definitely not out. Good tires for the winter. Now, coming behind the front left tire, you got about 30,000 K on your front brakes, so definitely a lot of good K left on your front brakes. The left lower ball joint right here, this is critical. It holds the wheel to the chassis. It is tight. This is your left outer CV boot. Now, this is full of grease, and if it was ripped, you see grease all over the point. Now, important not to be, because it keeps the CV axle swivel moving freely. This is the left outer tie rod, and this is the most critical thing in the whole car, or the second most critical, because there's two of them, right and left. This holds the wheel to the steering, and it is tight. This right here is your left sway bar link connected from here up to there. Important to be connected because it controls the sway when you go, dampens the sway when you go around the corner. This inside, and in here is the inner CV boot, and you see for yourself, if it was ripped, you see grease all over the place. More importantly, look behind it. That's a leak point. If it was going to leak, it would leak right there, because that's where the drive shaft comes out of the tranny. And see for yourself, good and dry. Now, speaking of good and dry, this is the bottom of the transmission. Good and dry. This is the bottom of the motor. Good and dry. So no leaks on your driveway. Oh yay. Now, this right here is your catalytic converter. Nothing wrong with it. Big problem is people reach under it and going cut, and you've got yourself about $1,000 to $1,500 repair. If you buy this vehicle, I'm going to put a free catalytic theft protection system on this that's going to stop people from cutting that cat out, and you can just rest assured you're not going to come out to a very, very nasty thing. Now, coming across to the right front tire, about 70% tread on all season radios, so definitely good tread for the winter time and summer. The right outer tie rod, this critical, is tight. The right lower ball joint, critical, is tight. Right outer CV boot, good and dry. Right sway bar link connected from here up to there, intact and doing its job. The inner CV boot, a little harder to see, but see for yourself, good and dry, no grease around, and no leakage, which is always a good thing. 30,000 K on your front brakes, and your right lower ball joint is tight. Now, brake-wise, leak-wise, suspension-wise, I'm not seeing anything of any concern so far. Following down the exhaust, and oh, by the way, this is all-wheel drive as well, which is always a good thing. And yeah, this is another leak point right here where the rear diff is. You can see the bottom of the diff. If it was leaking, you see it all around here. Good and dry, so no leaks on the rear diff, which is a good thing. Coming to the right rear outer CV boot, again, full of grease. If it was ripped, you see grease all over the place. Right inner CV boot, same thing. If it was ripped, you see it, grease all over the place. More importantly, behind that is the leak point there. If it was going to leak, it would leak right there. Now, on your brakes, you've got about, I'm going to say about 30, almost the same as the front, about 30,000 K left on the rear brakes. All your connection points here are tight. Your sway bar link for the right rear is right here, connected up to there. A little harder to see, but it is connected up to there, and again, doing its job, dampening the sway. The right rear tire, about 70% tread, so definitely some good tread left on your tires, front and back. Your exhaust is clean, and no cracks, no breaks that I can see. Bottom of the differential, another leak point would be right here. That is nice and clean. Now, coming across to the left rear tire, about 70% tread, all season radios, about 30,000 K on your rear left side. The left outer CV boot, good and dry. Left inner CV boot, good and dry. More importantly, leak point. If it was going to leak, it was going to leak right here, good and dry. The left sway bar link connected from here up to there, intact, doing its job, controlling the sway. Wow, you know, it's all in all, generally, I'm not seeing any real rust issues other than some small surface rush. Other than that, I'm not seeing anything of any concern so far. Now this is the left sway bar link, and again, these are full of oil. If it was leaking, you see it dripping all the way down here. That is good and dry, important. And this is your left sway bar suspension. No cracks, no breaks. And the fact that it's not leaking is very important because that controls the sway with that oil pressure. Now, brakes, your rotor's nice and clean. Nice looking rims, as a matter of fact. Now coming around to the right front strut. Again, same thing, full of oil. If it was leaking, you see it dripping all the way down here, and that is good and dry. The right suspension, intact, doing its job. Rotors, nice and clean. Nice looking wheels on it. Okay, left rear shock, same thing, full of oil. If it was leaking, you see it dripping all the way down here, good and dry. Left rear suspension, intact, doing its job. Right rear suspension, same thing, full of oil, good and dry, and suspension intact, doing its job. Okay, only 88, a little harder to see there, 88,891, very low K, no check engine lights, no trouble lights, really nice looking dash, no cracks in your windshield. All right, now I'll take you out and show you the condition of the motor. Okay, with the motor running. Okay, shot of the exhaust with the motor running. Very, very clean. Now, what I always do is I take a look underneath the oil cap and I look for any kind of white goo. Now, there's no indication of white goo in here, which is really important because that would be a mixture of oil and antifreeze, which is a big problem. However, I'm not seeing any indication, nor am I hearing any indication of problems with this car because it's such low K, and as far as I can tell, it has been well maintained. Now, hopefully this will help you make an informed decision. And remember, if you buy the vehicle, come to me. I'm going to put a free catalytic theft protection system on that, stop your car from getting stolen, and a 10% fuel saving device that I've used for 20 years that never fails. And hopefully this will help you make an informed decision, and we can do this for any vehicle you're interested in because we simply want you to buy safe with Eric. Thank you.